Welcome to the DrJimCares podcast with Dr. James Augustine, where we provide powerful solutions for helping you create wellness. The following discussion is for educational purposes only and is not meant to diagnose or treat disease. Because our approach is individualized, it's important to not apply this information without first consulting with your healthcare professional. And now, here's Dr. Jim.
Hello, everyone. This is episode 4 of the DrJimCares podcast. My name is Dr. James Augustine. I have a practice in Buena Park, California, and today I have a special topic. This is a recent discussion with patients about autoimmune disease. How do we make a major impact on autoimmune disease? Literally, causes of it as well as solutions. So let's talk about that. And this is from a full-body physiological, holistic perspective. The conversation starts with what causes autoimmune disease? And it's very deep in the science that molecular mimicry, kind of a mouthful of terms there, is a major part, meaning that your immune system can look at certain things such as foods, undigested foods, toxins, bugs from bacterial, viral, parasite, fungus, and yeast bugs from your intestines, as well as those stealth pathogens, those bad, nasty bugs that doctors typically don't test for that can be inside your body that once your immune system sees them, it can look at them and say, you know what, the receptor sites on that bug, piece of undigested food, gluten, or what have you, looks just like your body tissues. The problem, it has to get through the barriers in your body. So for instance, we have an intestinal barrier called the small intestine. One of the tests that we use to determine whether or not the integrity of your small intestine is okay, the barriers there and in place really well, is called a GI map as well as a gut zoomer test. So it's a very specialized stool test, cutting-edge stool test that really measures a special protein called zonulin. Zonulin is the protein that binds up your enterocytes. Your enterocytes, the small intestinal cells, and when you have high levels of zonulin in your stool test, this means that you have leaky gut. It's the proof of leaky gut. So you can have bad bugs in there, and there are exactly 9 autoimmune triggering bugs that have currently been measured with this particular test. Those bugs then can fall into your bloodstream through your leaky gut, past that barrier, and in there your immune system is very strong and robust, and it can look at that bug and say, you know what, that looks just like your thyroid. Hence, it turns into Hashimoto's, autoimmune thyroid, or Graves' disease, hyperthyroidism. Hashimoto's is hypothyroidism. It can look and see your kidneys and say, oh, let's attack your kidneys because it looks just like your kidney tissue. And it can become lupus. It could look at your pancreas, and everybody's a bit different. Not only are people different, it will show up in different people differently because of the bugs, the undigested food, or specific foods that you may be sensitive to, also those stealth pathogens. And all of this depends on the individual as far as which organ systems will then be attacked and destroyed, hence the autoimmune aspect. So let's continue with that process. You have leaky gut, one barrier is breached. Then you have this undigested food, we'll call it gluten, goes into your bloodstream. Your immune system says attack. We don't like that. Oh, you know what? That looks just like your thyroid. Now all of a sudden it's Hashimoto's. So here's the thing. This is the example. So how do we work on solving this problem? First and foremost, we want to repair that leaky gut. We've got to stop and repair the barrier so that this thing doesn't continue to happen. Because one thing that we never want to do is treat symptoms. There's an entire profession that likes to do that. We're not. This is not our way. We always want to find out root causes of problems, work at that level, solve those problems. In this case, heal and seal up that leaky gut. Then change and get rid of those bad intestinal bugs, get rid of the bad guys, put back good guys, get some good digestive enzymes going so you can stop this bad process, maybe eliminate some of these food allergies, food sensitivities as well. Good thing. Then, at the same time, we want to calm down and normalize the immune response so it stops destroying your thyroid tissue. That would be something like turmeric forte, some anti-inflammatory herbs that can stop and kind of calm the immune system response down a bit. Echinacea is a great tool for that endocannabinoid pathway, really bad inflammatory pathway, not bad, but very strong inflammatory pathway that can help to quench and calm that down. Then what you want to do is you want to supply the protomorphogens. Now, I'm sure no one's out there heard of protomorphology. It's a big mouthful of words there. Protomorphology, protomorphogens. Our body tissues have their own protomorphogen, and every body tissue is different. So thyroid is thytrophin PMG, thytrophin protomorphogen. And the protomorphogens do four primary things. The first, it's the mineral blueprint to make normal, healthy tissue cells of that type of tissue. Secondly, it normalizes the function of that tissue. So if it's hyperthyroid, you can still give thytrophin PMG. If it's low thyroid, you can still give thytrophin PMG because it'll bring it back up to normal. It's a modulator of normal function. It tries to bring back a normal function. Thirdly, it gets the tissue to heal, but here's the kicker. Fourth thing, it shuts down autoimmune responses in the tissue, and this is how it does it. Your immune system looks at your thyroid. Every time you have enough stress, immune system goes attack and destroy your thyroid. What if you put in the thytrophin? What happens is your immune system sees the thytrophin protomorphogen, thinks that that's the thyroid tissue, and it attacks that. And your immune system has made only so many autoantibodies to do this process. So what happens is every time it attacks and binds to the protomorphogen, you've removed some autoantibodies. Pretty soon, taking this for a period of time, there are no more autoantibodies. So guess what? You just shut down the attack and destructive process that's going on in the thyroid. Guess what? Then the thyroid, if you have some left, then the thyroid can actually start to come back into balance. And then there's a whole other, actually I have a video on this, whole other blend or an amount of nutrition that you would need to really support normalized thyroid function. All the tools and fuels necessary to get your thyroid to function normally. And this is in biochemistry. This is not something weird. It's not something that's made up. This is literally what your thyroid needs to function. Your thyroid hormones, T4 and T3. T4 is 4 iodines. T3 is 3 iodines. And so iodine typically tends to be essential. Sometimes people can have allergies or sensitivities to it. So sometimes those people can't get those levels of iodine. And so you have to work around that. But there's a whole array of nutrition just for thyroid physiology, to normalize thyroid physiology. So first and foremost, heal up the barrier. Heal and seal the gut lining, right? Then secondly, get rid of those bad bugs, replace them with good guys, get digestion working, and that's the process whereby we can shut down Hashimoto's or Graves' disease. Another thing, stealth pathogens. You want to do something to get rid of these bad bugs because they can also look just like your tissue. I recently did another podcast on a very specialized brain test that's called a Neural Zoomer Plus. This test is testing for antibodies in your brain for all kinds of various problems there. And another barrier that can be breached is called your blood-brain barrier. What can breach that barrier? Well, traumatic brain injury, concussion can do that. Also, some of these stealth pathogens can do that. And so you want to get rid of those stealth pathogens that can look just like your tissue. Hence, in my case, I have antibodies against my various parts of my brain. So I'm taking a bunch of neurotrophin, which is the protomorphogen for my brain, to scavenge up autoantibodies at the same time heal my blood-brain barrier, as well as heal my gut barrier. I have 2 barriers that are breached. So these are the pathways that are super important and essential to understanding How are we going to shut this process down? I hope this is really helpful, but this is how we do it. We want to know what tissue is involved. You give the protomorphogen for that tissue. You then look and see what else is going on. If there's inflammation, classically when your immune system's very busy, attacking things and doing damage, let's calm that down and stop the process from occurring so you don't want to damage your tissues. It can be rheumatoid arthritis, which is a whole other protomorphogen called ostrophin protomorphogen. By the way, one company on the planet that makes and has discovered protomorphology, and that is Standard Process. Standard Process Nutrition, great, phenomenal company that I use to get the protomorphogens for these various different problems. And guess what? Does this take the place of your medical doctor, your rheumatologist? No, not necessarily. At the same time you're working with your doctor, we would be working on the physiological side of things, meaning we want to normalize your biochemistry. We want to give your body the tools to repair itself. So there's no really conflicts other than there's some side effects in doing some of the what are called biologic drugs to stomp on your immune system. We would prefer that you wouldn't have to do that if we can get our work done and calm down and normalize your immune response as opposed to stamp down on it and squash your immune response, because you kind of need your immune system. So hope this helps. If you have questions or comments, please let me know. I'd love to help you out. I'm on email, draugustine@gmail.com. I'm also on social media. I'm on TikTok, Instagram, as well as YouTube. My phone number, 562-860-3404, because I'm also in Buena Park, California. Love to help you out with these things. This is Dr. Augustine from Head to Wellness. Have a great day.
Thanks for joining us on your journey to wellness. Join us next time for more information and education about your health. And feel free to contact Dr. Jim on social media or at his office, Head to Wellness in Buena Park, California.